On behalf of all of us at Heartbeat Communications, the Caribbean Tourism Organization, the French St. Martin Chamber of Commerce, One Caribbean Television, the Teamsters Local 275, I'm truly honored today to welcome the Chairman of the Caribbean Tourism Organization, the Honorable Secretary General Hugh Riley, the Premier of the BPI, the Chief Minister of Anguilla, all of the honorable ministers, our panelists who are at table number 3, the media, and all of you ladies and gentlemen to our second annual Invest Caribbean Now event. For those of you I have not met, I'm Felicia Prasad, CEO of Heartbeat Communications and the co-convener of this morning's event. For those of you I need to meet again, hello, I'm Felicia. Today, what we do promise is less talk and more doing business. With that in mind, we have an entire hour from 9 to 10 dedicated to basically you talking to the ministers of governments. A lot of them are at various tables that you can tell from the countries that are listed at those tables. So get to know those folks. If you haven't already, get to the person next to you, give them your business card, and let's make sure that we are doing business. This year, thanks to the St. Martin Chamber of Commerce, we are putting the spotlight on that very beautiful island. It is an island I hope to one day call home, Jean. So we definitely want to make sure we're doing business in St. Martin. Governments, there are also a lot of private sector folks here who you need to get to know. There are people here from Merrill Lynch. There are people here from Avalon Partners. That's a luxury real estate company that invests in the Caribbean. There is the CEO of Guyanese, fellow Guyanese National, the CEO of Spackman Capital, folks from CIBC Markets, and just more and more. I just don't have an entire list right now. But get to know the people there at your table, you're mingling with them. This event is really all about investing in the Caribbean. And not to mention our very own Brian Lilly, who's doing such an incredible job with One Caribbean Television, and without whose support we could not do this event. Because for the second year in a row, One Caribbean has pitched in and basically come on board as our sponsor again. So thank you, Brian. I know you have your own Invest Caribbean story to tell us. And our esteemed panelists at table 3, Lisa, Jay, Brian especially. I know Jonathan and Jay are already investing in the Caribbean. And theirs are stories that you need to hear, because today it's all about telling why Caribbean, why exactly we should be investing in the Caribbean. They're passionate about the Caribbean. You talk to Jonathan and he has nothing bad to say. So that is something that is good to hear. Someone else who's passionate about the Caribbean is our honoree today. He is someone who's pulled himself up from poverty to become a self-made multi-billionaire. And he's someone, hopefully, that I'd like to be one day when I grow up. Our honoree today, Sir Richard Branson, has definitely turned his attention to our Caribbean, and who are we actually to argue with him? So that should really tell us why the Caribbean has become more and more important to investors. But most of all, there are folks who are looking at this emerging markets who are part of the so-called BRICS, the Brazil, the India, the China. Last time we looked, the Chinese government actually announced a $6.3 billion investment in this region. This actually comes as the World Bank tells us the Caribbean is growing faster than Europe and Central Asia. And that is definitely a big deal. So ladies and gentlemen, my message to you today is that it is time to diversify into this emerging markets. These are the facts that motivates us. It motivates me as to why exactly we should be investing in the Caribbean. Because I can tell you, putting this event together is not easy at all. Getting sponsorship is like pulling teeth without Novocaine. It is absolutely ridiculous. But we do it because we're passionate about the Caribbean. We're part of the core of the people that have a drive, a passion, and a tenacity. And that tenacity is something that embodies all our people. For me, I sometimes feel that if you cut me, I bleed blood and blue waters. That's how passionate we are about the Caribbean. It's the kind of passion that drives our entrepreneurs. As Lisa will tell you, it is what the Branson Center is doing to invest in the folks there. Seriously, whether it's the hotel sector, it's the mining sector, it's digital media, it's renewables. I mean, we can go on and on, the food and manufacturing sector. The potential in the Caribbean is endless, ladies and gentlemen. And your job today is to grab each minister, talk to the people from French St. Martin, talk to the Caribbean Development Agency who are here, and let them know and find out what the opportunities are. Because with the Caribbean growing geographically, also located perfectly close to the U.S., there is no better time to, like Richard Branson, invest Caribbean now. Thank you, and with that, it gives me great pleasure to hand you over to this morning's moderator. Some of you who were here last year will remember there's a passion plea for governments to take advantage of the wallet share of investments in the world. He's Vice President of Risk and Capital Markets in the Financial Institutions Group at Goldman Sachs. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Help me welcome my friend, last year's keynote speaker, and your moderator this morning, Mr. Wendell Dave Dowrich.
Our first speaker for the morning has been the chairman of the Caribbean Tourism Organization since 2010. He's Minister of Tourism and International Transport for the islands of Kitts and Nevis since 2004. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the Honorable Richard Sterrett, Minister of Tourism.
In spite of the uncomfortable financial and fiscal transformations taking place around us, there is still an increasing demand for leisure travel to the Caribbean. And that translates, ladies and gentlemen, if you do it right, to dollars and return on investment. Our research tells us, for example, that North American travelers are still looking to the Caribbean as the best place to escape from their daily stresses, and that visitors still want to experience the diverse cultures of our people and the adventures of our abundant natural assets, including our sandy beaches, spectacular rivers and waterfalls, tropical rainforests, majestic mountains, picturesque landscapes, etc., etc., etc. The list is never ending. Our biggest need for tourism investment today is therefore to improve the quality and accessibility of our natural assets, and to better connect them with source markets without them losing their own authenticity. This morning I expect that you will also share notes on what sources of investment capital survived the banking crisis and how they have changed, and what new sources have emerged even in the midst of the debt crisis. In the Caribbean, we need investment partners who will join hands with us for the long term. And we need investors who will not only invest in buildings, technology and infrastructure, but who will also spend an equitable amount of resources on developing our easily trainable Caribbean people and on expanding markets for our tourism products. Caribbean people are our most valuable asset and represent a genuine and critical source of what makes our region so special. I therefore submit to you that investing in Caribbean people development must be an essential portion of any major tourism investment in our region. In this regard, I want to assure those of you who are not yet familiar with the Caribbean that investment opportunity in the English, French, Dutch, and Spanish-speaking Caribbean is supported by well-tested rules of law, rapidly improving and affordable telecommunications, much more sophisticated than most people understand, a mature political democracy, and a positive attitude by governments to foreign direct investment and tourism. Of course, investment is not simply the result of the myriad business deals made within the private sector alone. Each of our governments carries the burden of responsibility for fostering an environment where such business transactions can be made. It is imperative that our governments continue to build and improve tourism infrastructure, and that we set the economic policies and regulations that offer favorable conditions for growing both local and foreign direct investment. One of the features of our investment climate is that many of our Caribbean nations have no capital gains tax, inheritance tax, estate tax, gift tax, or withholding tax in place. I must alert you also to the fact that over 23.8 million stayover visitors went to the Caribbean region in 2011, an increase of 3.3% over 2010. And the new tourists we are seeing are coming from some of the so-called BRIC nations, especially Russia and Brazil. And the governments of China and Brazil and several of the entrepreneurs are already invested in our Caribbean because they see the potential of this emerging market. You should also note that many Caribbean locales levy little or no sales tax compared with state taxes rates here of up to 10% in the US. Similarly, many Caribbean jurisdictions impose corporate income tax rates far below the standard US rate of 35%. I also want to remind you very quickly that the geographic proximity and relative ease of access to the Caribbean from North America makes investing in the Caribbean an obvious option. There can be no denying that we are one of the USA's closest neighbors. Getting to the Caribbean is relatively easy from several US ports, and monitoring your own assets become quickly possible. It is not by accident, therefore, that the Caribbean provides both a prime tourism destination as well as a secondary home location for many, with increasing direct access from North America and Europe. Finally, with the public investment programs of so many of our Caribbean governments having been compromised because of recent fiscal challenges, there should now be more opportunities than ever before for private investors to get involved in financing, designing, building, and even operating select public sector infrastructure and service-related projects. It almost goes without saying that future economic success in our region will require stronger partnerships between the private and public sector in order to drive wealth creation and employment growth, and to ultimately meet the satisfaction of today's demanding visitor. This forum, therefore, is an opportunity and should not be just another talk shop, because there are several opportunities out there. It is my fervent hope that this morning you will identify real opportunities for tourism development that can serve to grow the tourism earnings for our region, for our people, and for your business interests. Thank you very much.
Welcome Jean Arnel, Vice President of Frank St. Martin Chamber of Commerce, in charge of economic expansion and international relations. Jean is also the co-founder and managing partner at Computech, a St. Martin-based IT services company. Jean.
My presentation this morning will focus on three main aspects, three main pillars. Accessibility to the island, the quality of our public infrastructures, and what it really takes to do business on St. Martin. It's pretty simple, and we do have a regulatory stability that being part of the French Republic provides us, and I'll mention some of that. So we're open for business, and we hope you visit, and we hope you'll be willing to invest, and we're going to talk about some of the investment opportunities that exist. Just a brief fact sheet on St. Martin, French part, a Dutch part. Often you hear talk about the English-speaking, French-speaking, or Spanish-speaking.
Our next speaker this morning is Mr. Jay Gill. Jay is the president and co-founder of Solomon Energy Corp. Solomon Energy Corp is a renewable energy developer, which recently announced plans to build the Caribbean's largest solar plant in Jamaica. Today I will speak on the topic of renewables in the Caribbean. Please join me in welcoming Jay to the podium.
Good morning, everybody. It's an honor to be here and address such a distinguished crowd. For those of you who are not aware, and this probably will create a lot of angry faces, to explain why we decided to invest in the Caribbean, let me quickly tell you two things about the electricity energy in the Caribbean. First point being, over 90% of electricity in the region is generated by burning costly fossil fuels. This resulting dependence on oil for power generation has led to an average utility rate of over 40 cents per kilowatt hour. It's 40 cents per kilowatt hour. That's almost 4 times what we pay in North America. Okay? And this leads to some of the highest in the world. So naturally, we have to do something about this. So Sokomon's bright idea moment, as I call it, was an exploratory remark from our CEO while he was vacationing in Jamaica, probably baking in the sun with a really bad sunburn. All Canadians understand how powerful the sun is in the Caribbean, trust me, plenty of other days. So could the sun, that very same resource that fuels tourism and attracts millions of people to the Caribbean every year, could that provide an affordable, limitless supply of electricity and bring millions of dollars of new investment to the Caribbean? I'm proud to say today that yes, it absolutely can. And at this point, it's more competitive than ever. But even more important than that, the Caribbean is actually ideal for solar. Located within the global Sun Belt, the Caribbean is home to 21 countries that are ideal for PV technology. Now, as dominant markets in our industry mature, like in Europe, 66% of new growth for PV markets is going to come from these Sun Belt countries.
Our next panelist this morning strongly believes that there are many, many opportunities for well-capitalized foreign investors to enter into the emerging economies of the Caribbean. As a current investor in Jamaica, let us welcome the Chairman and Managing Director of Blue Equity LLC and the CEO of Cool Petroleum, Mr. Jonathan Blue, to address us on the topic of private equity investment in the Caribbean.
When Felicia asked me to speak here, I wanted everybody to understand, I want to tell you today part of what we're going to talk about. Why us? Why the Caribbean? Why Jamaica? What our experience has been, and why we're so bullish on not only the country, but the region itself. And our perspective as investors, we've got several holdings down there. For those of you who don't know, quickly, we have a distribution business. We bought the 2 leading ice manufacturers on the island of Jamaica. They're essentially the only 2 manufacturers. Back in October 2008, they were rivaling businesses. We put the businesses together as a control investor. One of our keys to success is we are very, very involved once we invest capital in the country, which I think is not just necessary in the Caribbean, but anywhere in the world. And so we are essentially operating that business now, have been since 2008. It's on both the north-south coast of the island, 2 different planes. In 2012, just a few months ago, we bought the Shell assets for the entire country. It's the 4th or 5th largest Jamaica-owned business on the entire island, the entire country. So we have a good experience. It's not just the retail operation, it's not just the pier, it's not just the port, it's not just the tank farm, it's also the commercial business, the lubricants business, the paint, thinner, and other chemical businesses, along with several government contracts. So it's a pretty elaborate company. About $500 million in sales to US approximately. You mentioned a few minutes ago about the BRICS, which we're going to talk a little bit about. We think this is the next BRIC. We are very, very bullish, as I said.
Our final panelist for the morning is Lisa Lake. Lisa is the Chief Development Director at the Branson Center of Entrepreneurship in the Caribbean, which is supported by Sir Richard Branson, one of our honorees for the morning. Please join me in welcoming Lisa.
We went to the last September 2011, we're the second Branson Center globally, and while there are many pro-entrepreneur programs globally, we find ourselves different in that where we look, who we target and how we do it, which is the Virgin Way. As our founder Richard likes to say, screwing business as usual. And so, what is Branson Center all about? What do we believe? At its heart, we believe that the best way to economic growth and development is through job creation. We believe that the best way to create jobs is by building sustainable businesses that hire people. The best way to do that is by supporting entrepreneurs to build sustainable businesses that hire people. Our model is multifaceted.
Thank you to a group of people who have supported us and have worked with us. Joe Bernstein, Ms. Ann Walters, Mr. Arthur Piccolo, Mr. Jared McAllister, Mr. Harold Dole III, and our checking team of Mr. Chuck Mohan and Mr. Christian Carapolo. And special thanks to our photographer, Ms. Sharon Bennett, and all the media that are here, thank you very much. The staff of the Marriott Marquis, thank you very much. We appreciate your patience. And finally, thank you all for being here. We could not have done this without you, and please accept our thanks and a round of applause. Thank you.
This time I have the distinct honor and humbling task of introducing this year's first Leadership Award recipient. He's a world-renowned businessman who loves the Caribbean and is being honored for his depth of passion, his philanthropic leadership, and investment in the young entrepreneurs and youth of our region. He is someone we would all agree is striving to undoubtedly propel our region forward by setting an example through initiatives such as the launch of the Branson Center of Entrepreneurship in the Caribbean. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in giving a very, very warm welcome for Sir Richard Branson, founder of Virgin Group and the Branson Center for Entrepreneurship, and this year's inaugural Invest Caribbean Now Leadership Award. Thank you all. I now have the opportunity to wrap this up, as they say. Congratulations to awardee Sir Richard Branson. Thank yous to the Chairman of the Caribbean Tourism Organization and the CK's Minister of Government, Ms. Garrett. Thank you to our other panelists.
On behalf of all of us at Heartbeat Communications, the Caribbean Tourism Organization, the French St. Martin Chamber of Commerce, One Caribbean Television, the Teamsters Local 275, I'm truly honored today to welcome the Chairman of the Caribbean Tourism Organization, the Honorable Secretary General Hugh Riley, the Premier of the BPI, the Chief Minister of Anguilla, all of the honorable ministers, our panelists who are at table number 3, the media, and all of you ladies and gentlemen to our second annual Invest Caribbean Now